Dean,
Yeah.
Dean, if you could ask the question because you keep
Yeah,
coming
no,
in
I
and
was
out.
just saying, what when you see these solar flares and you relate it to yourself and all these changes in the atmosphere, do you go into your place of, okay, these solar flares are making a change, I need to change with it? I'm reading this book like ISIS D.
Okay, I understand the question, and I think that as I was speaking to the beloved brother before you about that NASA and the entire way that they have given you a specific narrative about the reality of our world. The
Mhm.
solar flares are actually a cleansing mechanism that the sun gives off in
Yep.
order to purge the atmosphere of thoughts that would cause certain types of energies to actually wreak havoc on this planet. We're talking about what's getting ready to go down, where they talk about uh, hurricanes and volcanoes. All of these, the solar flares, the sun, you have to stop looking at the sun as something 95 million miles away. It's not 92 million miles away. That's nonsense. The
Mhm.
sun is about maybe 5,500 miles in the air. It
Mhm.
is not circling, we're not circling it, it's circling above us.
Mhm.
And what it is we are in a gigantic cyclotron. I see behind you that you have a lot of schematics, which means that your mind is one that regulates and works to deal with solutions at the microscopic level. So I can actually address you at that level. The
Okay.
sun essentially is there to not only give the cyclotron, the movement that you see there, the electromagnetic field that we're working on, it is there to actually manage the electromagnetic field that we're using that we call our atmosphere. It's there as a computer to make sure that it monitors the life forms on the planet and whatever it is that is going to disturb that. Every time a certain level of time comes around, and they can actually say that they can look at the sun and say, oh, here comes a flare. Get ready for the flare. The flare is the way that the consciousness that created the sun cleanses the atmospheres and prepares the atmosphere for what is new. It is
Okay.
not bad, it is good.
Mm.
That's what I felt that. I felt like it's a
Hmm.
communication and I'm taking it as information. It's
Yes,
going through the earth and the
indeed.
earth is our frequencies are changing. The
In
human
your breath,
resonance is changing.
in your breath. You have to understand that what it does is it permeates the atmosphere as the solar energies that you see permeating the waters of life. That light that you see coming through the atmosphere, that atmosphere is water. And what you're dealing with is programming information. This is light code transmissions. That's
Okay.
what the sun flares are. Some
Hmm.
come, there are certain transmissions that are already there that just give you them in a very benign manner. And then there's abrupt changes that are necessary that the sun gives out, and all of a sudden things start happening. Or,
Yeah.
okay, that's the marginalization. Do not fear that because they want you to fear it. They want you
Yeah.
to think that all the communications get messed up. Yeah, but what's been communicating through those lines? What kind of hate and crap and pornography and all child molesting and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff that's been communicating through those lines? The sun flares are there. That's your Jesus wreaking havoc against the so-called the people in the temples, the so-called people in the temples. What
Well,
is the temple? The temple is the corporate entities that are out there feeding
mhm.
up all this crap to our people. So your
Yep.
Jesus is one is just knocking out communications that do not serve the better good.
No.
So I would say to you that you're on point the way you look at it. Your sun and your moon are the electric and the magnetic. It is a gigantic cyclotron, a gigantic battery, and the
Hmm.
movement of both of them above are what's keeping what you call the energy alive. Everything
Yeah.
is dealing with movement, and so therefore your thoughts now have to move in synchronicity for what is planned for the human race for the next 25 to 100 years, and the sun is preparing us for that.
Excellent.
Okay.
Dean, I want to thank you for your question, my brother. Good to see you
Oh,
again.
thank you. Always good. Always a
All right.
pleasure.
All
One
right,
love.
brother.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Doc, you're giving some great answers tonight to all these questions. I'm definitely enjoying just sitting back and
Good.
learning. Shout out to everybody who came on with the questions. Once again, family, before we continue, we probably got about 15 minutes left. Like I said, Doc's gonna talk for 10 or more hours on Sunday. So Doc needs his rest leading up to the event. but I want to make sure I plug this event again before the end of the show.
Mhm.
Make sure y'all tune in. Your it's this Sunday, 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Aristocracy of Evil, the Redux, Constructs of the New Old Order. It's gonna be fire, family. It's gonna be fire. Anything you want to add on before we continue with the Q&A, Phil?
Yeah, just what you say that if they're having any problems, they can go to. I don't know if you posted the rest of the information with the Sanu777 at Gmail. If they're
Mhm.
having any problems with registering, just send a request to my email Sunnu 777 at Gmail. Send that request, but make sure that in the subject box you put in all capital letters webinar, and that way I will send you directly from my email the registration link. Also, if you're looking for consultations or any kind of help dealing with problems that you can't have your job unless you know what, then you can get in contact with me at 800-847-1291. That's 800-847-1291.
All right, all right. Let's keep it moving. Make sure y'all sign up this Sunday. It's going down, family. It's gonna be an amazing event. Let's keep it moving. Who we got next here? We got Sienna the Superior. Sienna the
Hello,
Superior. What's going on?
can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, I don't know if I have a question so much as I just want to share and get feedback. So, um, I'm in a situation where I live in the inner city, and there's a lot of gun violence out where I live, and a lot of these people I do or did know, and I felt like over the years I've been living here, since I have been actively doing altar work and shadow work, I feel like on the spiritual side, my light is like the brightest, and it makes me feel like these spirits make their way to me, and I have experimented, and I felt like my ancestors guided me to do so because for practice and for experience. But what happened was I ended up like creating this spiritual army, so much to I had to take and create the different war elements that they're used to and put it into a separate altar in the garage because the garage is not connected to the house. So to me, the garage represents like abstract thoughts. So I put that altar out there to kind of free up some space in the home because it was like a lot going on, and I could feel that it was chaotic, although I was navigating in. I said I was handling it pretty well because I wasn't in danger or anything like that. It was just more so me interacting with the chaos that they were used to. And so my question is, how can I like what type of ritual or spell could I do in order for them to begin more so protecting the neighborhood? Like I don't know if I should be putting more energy at the trees, or like will that help? Or like is there a bigger entity that's kind of keeping this area on the level that it's at?
Well, the first thing, I've worked with energies through a method they call sorcery. And my first question, well, my only question to you is, if you are going to be spelling, what entity are you serving? And what entity are you calling upon in order for you to have favored results?
The entity that has been, what I personally feel like that has been trying to pull this energy out of me is Santa Muerte. Yeah.
You're talking about the sigil of death.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, if you're dealing with the sigil of death, then what you're doing is strengthening the very energies that are around you. That's happening at this moment. You have to look to light.
Mm.
You're not dealing with the light. The darkness is here. You don't feed the darkness with one who brings the darkness, because he closes the eyes of the world. He closes the eyes of the light of the world to people and brings them into his amenti, as it's called. So you want to bring light where the darkness is. You don't want to bring darkness to where darkness is. You're only enriching and doing his job.
So would you say that the Virgin Mary is the better option?
Yes, you want to deal with something that has to do with light. You have to deal with one who contradicts the darkness, one who works against the darkness. And I don't mean just darkness that you see when you turn out the lights. I'm talking about the light within. I'm talking about enhancing the light within, which means that people begin to understand the responsibility for their action. And you have,
Reflection.
yes. And the reflection is mirror magic is what's best for you at this particular time. Have you tried that?
That's crazy. I That's crazy that you say that. I'm looking at a mirror right now, and then I have another um mirror right behind it, and I haven't really tapped into the mirror magic yet. And but I know that to me, how they present themselves to me, the Virgin Mary and Santa Muerta, they are a twin to me because I'm a Virgo, and but I have a Gemini moon, so that's the twin. And I was always kind of teeter tottering back and forth with both of them, but
But your nature, beloved, your nature is one with the Virgin Mary. You're not dealing with the masculine energy properly. Your
okay,
masculine energy is actually superseding the one that you're supposed to be using, which is your feminine energy, and you're not using that to the fullest extent. You have to step back and actually examine where your focus and your attention is, especially when you intend to do magic. That's a very,
mm-hmm.
very delicate thing. You are actually manipulating forces. I've done that, and I've
Mm-hmm.
dealt with the payment. It's nothing free. It's not free. You have
Right.
to go from something in order for you to actually have something happen. And then the universe calls for balance. So I would suggest that you extol the feminine energies in Ma'at, in Ast, in Heteru, and these energies that are feminine in their nature, Yamaya, and these are the energies that are your power. These are your power. The other energies are not your power. You're just enhancing their energy by giving up yours.
That makes complete sense.
See, and I appreciate the question and the call, my sister.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Peace. All right, let's keep it moving. We got here. We got Troy Benz. Troy Benz, what's happening, brother?
There we go. Thank you very much, Brother Phil, Dr. Phil, and Brother Rich for taking my call. Um, Brother Valentine, some of us live on the other side of the world and would love to attend our your webinar. So I hope in the future there's an opportunity for us. The question that I had for you is this. What would you say to the people who are starting to feel more tapped in, starting to feel a separation from the herd? Dreams are becoming more vivid, and the ringing in our ears, we're starting to hear it more often. What would you say to these people who are starting to feel some of the upgrades?
I say open up and surrender to it. These are downloads that are attempting to find the those who have been chosen. Essentially, we once our focus and our attention is away from the herd, as you say, you become one of the chosen. Because this is something that you don't do very easily. You look around you and see how many people are lost. Just imagine you through the filter and the attention that you've placed on yourself in reference to the world. Just imagine that. That's your initiation process that you're taking into consideration. And as far as you coming to join me from the other part of the world, I invite you to think about joining my spring semester coming up in metaphysical psychology, because that's where I do most of my help to the brothers and sisters in preparation for what's getting ready to come down. They go through their initiation process through that particular course. So if you want to, you can go to uksnow.org. That's U as in United, K as in King, S as in Science, NOW.org, and just click where it says registration. Fill out the form, and in the last box, just put down registering for spring semester MPSY 1 2024. And then if you join us, it's a 3-month course. We have 6 classes. You get to keep the recording. You get to keep the PowerPoint. And I would suggest that if you want to know any real deep parts, thank you very much, King. King Simon, thank you, beloved. If you are seriously want to get into, I've had superstar football players, basketball players. I've
Mhm.
had superstar singers. Earth, Wind, and Fire were my friends. These are the people that I know that I had. That their sons were my students. And I'm saying to you, there's everybody out there. I would really suggest that if you do have the finances to come to the classes, I haven't changed the amount for the course for the last 25 years. It's the
Okay.
same. So if you want, I would suggest that you look it up. We're starting our new semester on the 23rd of March. If you are
Okay.
really interested in getting deep into understand what the next 10 to 20 years, what the next millennium is about, I would suggest you prepare yourself with metaphysical psychology.
I appreciate that. Thank
Hey,
you. Thank you, Brother Rich.
yes, sir. Peace. All right, let's keep it moving, family. We got Empress Cindy. Empress, are you there? Empress Cindy, are you there?
Yes,
We got
greetings. Greetings. Blessed love. Greetings.
Uh,
peace.
Blessed love.
Okay.
Irie.
Thanks for having me on the show.
I can't hear you, brother. Is there any way you could talk louder?
Oh, give thanks for having me on the show. Sorry about that. I had a speaker, and then
Yes, sir.
yeah, yeah. Give thanks, Dr. Valentine. Long time, and I wanted to connect with you, and this
Give
is the right
thanks.
opportunity. Give thanks.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you know about the Lumi? In terms of the cryptocurrencies that you've been talking about. I think
Hmm.
there's one coming from Africa someplace. I don't remember the country right now off the top of my head, but it's called Lumi. What do you know about
Yes. Someone send me information on the Lumi, and I'm waiting for some kind of white paper on it. And until I see the white paper, I'm not moving anywhere towards anything that I don't understand, because I know that there are a lot of people who are out there trying to rip off people with scams, like FTX, for example. When FTX first came out, I was going to join into that and put some currency in there, and I was going to wait, but I did not see the white paper as anything that gave me the proper. It was too much, visceral information that didn't give me the idea of what was really going on. So I held off, and that made me make sure that I don't know who. If I don't know who they are, and they don't give me proper information that I recognize where my dollars are going, even though it's fiat dollars, it's still a way of dealing with, currency. So I would suggest that you check to see about the Lumi and to make sure that the white paper states that it is going to be incorporated into the banking system or into the system of communication that's going to be benefiting the system itself, not just one of these coins like these ridiculous stupid coins. They got over 25,000 of them out there. They're all going to be flushed down the toilet, and there's only going to be about 20 of them that's going to really be working. So if the Lumi is part of that, I'm going to look into it myself. I don't pretend to know everything, but I will definitely see what that's about, and if it does favorably, gravitate to my consciousness, I will let you know, definitely.
that? Yes,
Indeed.
honorable. Yes, thanks.
Thank you for the question, my brother.
Give thanks, beloved. Thank
Peace.
you for your time.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, we got two more people in the back.
Mhm.
Before we close out, let's get to Demarius. What's going on, my brother? Yeah, I can't hear you. It's somewhere there. Can't hear you, my brother. All right. Let me get to this other caller, Demarius. I'm not gonna hang up on you, and I'll come right back to you, my brother. And just troubleshoot. I'll come right back to you after this call. All right, we'll come right back to Demarius. We got 94 Legend. What's happening, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
My question is about dreams. When I'm meditating, trying to meditate, when I'm reading books, I keep getting these visions of dreams that I've been having since I was a little child. I mean, it could be up to 30, 35 dreams at a time. I want to know why I can't just settle down and get these dreams out of my head and actually concentrate on what I'm trying to do. It happens
Okay.
every day. Every
Okay.
day
How
I dream about what to do.
these contents in the dream? Are there something you recognize as an experience that you had as a child?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, they must have had some kind of indelible impact on you when you were that age, because they are ingrained in the chemistry of your memory. Remember, memory is nothing but a chemical recall. So until that chemical is diluted in some way by the fact that your attention does not give them the necessary fuel to keep strengthening them, you have to understand that memory is the recall of a particular mixing of chemistries that happened at the time that you experienced it. So what you're doing is, as you're going into meditation, that had such an indelible influence on you that every time you go to a place where you quiet, what is in your subconscious comes up and starts triggers a recall and a replay. You keep hitting the replay button. What
Right.
you need to do is, when it does happen, do not assign the type of attention that you would to the thought. Because the more you assign your attention to that thought, the more you place your emotional impetus into that thought, the more strength you give to it, and it stays alive one more time, one more strength. What you need to do is to stop putting judgment into what you recall in your meditation. Because remember, every time you go into your meditation, you bring back a memory that you judged was something important to you. But
Hmm.
if you stop judging that thing by saying, "Oh, that was very important at one time. Oh, I remember what I did. I heard. I skinned my knee." All of those things essentially give life to that thought. It nurtures from your attention. It feeds on your attention. So when you no longer put the importance of that thought as you're meditating, allow it. Sometimes when you resist it, you strengthen it. You have to allow it to happen. The more you allow it without placing any of your attention, that precious part of yourself, into that particular moment, the less it has its energy, less it feeds. And the more you go into meditation and not give any value to that particular thought, the more it begins to dissipate and it comes back less and less and less until it disappears.
Okay. I'll
Hey,
see you
yeah.
guys Sunday. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
See you
Your
Sunday.
pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace.
Shout out to that brother.
Mm.
Demarius, what's going on,
Yes.
brother? You ready? There you
Hello.
go. There you go,
Okay.
brother. There
Thank
you
you.
go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but thank you for taking my call. Thank you for your patience.
Mhm.
As an Andromeda starseed, what can you tell us about the history of Andromeda, their role in our planet's ascension, if they have any role at all?
Well, I would not listen to the Europeans who give you that information. I would go back to the Dogon and deal with the Ijiji and how they dealt with the stars. The stars are nothing more than hieroglyphics that essentially beam down particular information to you that aligns directly with specific synaptic regions in the brain. Andromeda is nothing more than the star system that is linked up in the brain. You have to understand that Andromeda is not a place. It's part of what the dome was written for. The hieroglyphics of the sky that we call Gemini, Taurus, Aquarius, Andromeda, Pleiades. Um, um, the starts with an A. Went right over here. But what you're looking at essentially is what a human being, and inspired by what it is that they saw in the stars, and looking at what that particular position of that particular thing, like the Sirius star system, or actually, we got to stop calling it Sirius. We have to call it what the ancients called it, was Sopedet. Sopedet. That was what Sirius was to us. And what happens is, when those particular hieroglyphics end up in the sky, certain things happen down here that we become conscious of, so that that appearance now shows something that appears here to us. And if we see that there's a groundswell of water, as it does in the Nile, or there's a groundswell based upon waters that come and wash things over all of it, we are looking at what it is that that particular lesson plan that was given to us in that dome was supposed to give us the sight to be able to see not only what we see in nature, which is the mother that teaches, but what is the Father within, the Spirit. So the Spirit and nature work together. And what you are perceiving in the avatar that you are is you are perceiving and feeding back to the universe through your unique vessel. You are taking in and contemplating on energies that others are actually participating in. And collectively, your consciousness is what's changing and reevaluating everything around you. These Europeans are looking for people who come from Pleiades. And if you look at these Europeans who are talking about being Pleiadians, they are pale ass white with long white hair. These people are creating their own mythos to give them a reality that they stole from everybody that had melanin on this planet. So I would say to you, and I did something in New York. I think Brother Rich and I think it was with Brother King Simon, where we did something talking about a UFO conference, where I showed who it was that these Europeans are actually dealing with. There was some white boy called Drunvalo Melchizedek, talking all kind of nonsense about who it is that Saint Michael is, and who everybody was these pale ass Europeans. You don't see anybody black in any of their realities. You see it in all of their cartoons. You see it in their superheroes. They're all taking from you. So whatever it is they're telling you about the Pleiades, seek out the ones who knew before they knew. Like they knew Sopadet before they knew Ceres. They didn't even know that Ceres had a three-star, a triune system until they went and visited the Dogon. So study your own eschatology when it comes to astrotheology, because that's what everything is. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, all of that is what is under the rubric of something called astrotheology. We learned everything from the stars in the sky, which were the hieroglyphics, the first book of life. That's where we learned from. Within you, my beloved brother, passed on from your mother in your mitochondria, is the Alexandrian library. Seek the knowledge there while using some of the knowledge they may have interpreted, but don't take it from them. Remix it, realchemize it, and make it your own because it was always your own.
Hey, I appreciate the question, my brother.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good night.
Peace, peace.
Please.
All right, that was the last call we're gonna take, but we had one super chat. Shout out to Kansu for the super chat donation. I appreciate it. Kansu wants to know, Doc, on behalf of a new listener with me, they ask if God can do anything, why not just eradicate sin and give up his only son?
That's ridiculous when we start talking about giving up his only son. The only son that he's given us is the son above us. The son that is above us is the Son of God. That is the one that resurrects after December 21st, stays in the southern quadrant of our flatted Earth for 3 days, and then rises when the so-called what is that Virgo. When Virgo is rising on the third day, that's when we talk about the son being born of a virgin. Everything is based upon astrotheology. They anthropomorphized it and started putting white people to the information that was actually based upon forces that we understood. If the ancestors were to come back and see the way we took the knowledge that they put down in story form and we literalized it, they would have been laughing at us. They'd have told us we are fools. Because everything in that Bible is supposed to be about science, not about no man named Moses, which they stole from the ancient Kemites. Moshe, Moshe was the name of Tutankhamun's father. The word Moshe means helper of humanity. So all of what we're looking at, as far as if God can do anything, God can do everything. You are the God that can do anything. You're the better part of God. Have you ever watched God and actually express him and herself through the eruption of a volcano that kills 25,000 people? Is that the God you're talking about? No, we are the better part of God. We were created by that thing that seeks itself, because it doesn't know itself. I know everybody's saying, oh, well, God is all knowing. It's, yes, it is. God is all knowing, and being all knowing means you don't know a damn thing about yourself. You just are. You are the unknowable. And the way we tap into the unknowable is by us, the known, tapping into the unknown. And the unknown gives us little bare scratches of what the unknowable is about. So if God can do anything, you can do anything. How do you eradicate sin? You understand what sin is. Sin means ignorance. Sin means you act out of ignorance. You do not know. And the reason why you do not know is because God needed to not know itself. The reason why you exist is to come into knowledge of self so that the Creator will know itself. And I'm saying, oh, that's blasphemous. The Creator knows all. He sits upon a throne waiting for you to do the right thing so that you could be rewarded at the end. That's bullshit. You're talking like a little child. They're giving you fairy tales. They're giving you little things for you to play. And you know, Mary had a little lamb and, you know, and 3 little pigs. That's what the Bible is trying to tell you. And even your Jesus Christ said his name was Lucifer. He only did it to you at the end, what they call the revelations, which was actually called the initiation of the anointed Iesous, which then became the apocalypse, which then became the revelations. And at the end, in chapter 22, verse 16, he said, I, Jesus. Read it. I'm the scion of David and the bright morning star. Whoa, Jesus is the morning star? Well, who else is the morning star? Lucifer. That's why the Vatican worships Lucifer. They don't worship Jesus. The Vatican worships Lucifer. And you all think that when the white man tells you hate Lucifer, do you hate Lucifer? Because he warped everything that Lucifer represented? Lucifer was Venus. He's the bringer of the dawn. He's the star you see right before the sun comes up over the horizon. Everything you think you know about the reality of what you teach, preach, worship, everything has been twisted. You have no knowledge of what the reality is, and they're keeping that in what they call religion. They're relegating your brain to think outside of the science that your ancestors left you. The anthropomorphizing of gods with heads of dogs and animals and so forth, those were just ways to teach children. And that's the way that your boy, what's his name, who believes in evolution? Who was the dude who did with evolution?
Darwin.
Darwin. Do you know Darwin's father was an Egyptologist, and he got the whole thing